All right, we are live on YouTube, and tonight we're going to be discussing why single men are struggling with modern day women. So stick around for all of that and much, much more that's coming right. Whoops. Oh my gosh, here we go. I'll be feeling better soon. I'm still struggling from this pain in my arms and my feet. Live from Northern California, welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. And if this is your first time here, and most importantly, you are open to suggestions and change, please consider subscribing and then banging that bell. And after you bang that bell, when that pop-up box pops up, make sure you select all notifications, because that way you won't miss a single thing. You will not miss anything when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. And also make sure on your smartphone, your tablet, your iPhone, your Android, or anywhere that you have the YouTube app installed on, you must also make sure that the YouTube app is set to receive those notifications at a device level. Do all of that and you're set to go. All right, give me a second here. I actually tapped my pop filter out of alignment for a second there. My apologies for the delayed start, folks, once again tonight. My pinched nerve has been acting up today. I mean, it's been getting better, but the more and more I move around, the more and more it acts up. And I'm trying to not move around as much, but I still have things to do. And I'm the type of guy that just doesn't like to sit things out, when I should be resting and recovering. So that's what delayed my start to this show. And that's why I screwed up with the controls at the beginning here. Like, my hands are a little tingly and numb. Every now and then I get that little tingle and numb sensation in my hands and my feet because of my pinched nerve, which I've identified as being right around my neck area. So, I've been doing my neck exercises. I've been stretching around. It's just going to take time to work through it. So my apologies for the delayed start, and my apologies for screwing up the intro and the transition being a little bit off. Hey, it's live television, folks. You never know what's going to happen there, but it's better than just not doing a show at all, right? Because I know how many people wait for these shows and they love these shows. And tonight, I have another very interesting topic to discuss, and it's involving, why modern single men struggle with modern single women. What's the big deal? What's really going on? I've actually discussed this many times in the past, but I just felt the need to do another show on this tonight because it is very important. And, I'm a single guy, and I've put myself back out there in the dating market over the last few months through Match.com, OkCupid, and some other, dating sites. And I'll tell you, I mean, it's been very, I have an itch on my nose. It's good luck. It's been very, very interesting. And, I've talked to so many different women that initially appeared to be decent, good women through, what they wrote on their profile and what they said about, liking my profile, and then, communicating through the apps, and then also and then, going to a phone call is what I'm trying to say. But once we would get that phone call, I would start to hear their tone of voice. And I will tell you, I'm going to just start off by saying right off the bat, this is with no disrespect to any woman out there. I'm not, doing this stream to bash on women. I'm actually doing this stream to help both men and women. I have a big, big itch on my nose, and maybe that's a good luck itch. I'm sorry. It looks unprofessional, but, it is what it is. Give me 1 second. Let me just check out the stream health here. Okay, we're looking pretty good. And the notification has gone out. All right. So there's one person I know for a fact is simulcasting me right now. Sir, I've got 3 managers watching my streams. Unless you want your stream to go down for copyright, I would suggest you stop simulcasting me at the moment. I'm just putting it out there. You don't have to listen, but if not, you will go down for copyright. Just ask a few other people that have recently been taken down for copyright when they didn't think they would. So that's that. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to let my channel managers who are watching tonight and are aware of simulcasts, I'm going to let them handle that. So, yeah, we're also going to be discussing the biggest turnoff for men regarding the modern day woman. And I'll tell you right off the bat, I'm not going to make you folks wait for the entire show like some of the creators do to tell you what it is. I'm going to go into more details as the show goes on, but the single biggest turnoff to a good man like myself about the modern day woman is when that modern day woman exudes more masculine energy than feminine energy. That woman has more of a rough masculine tone of voice than a cute, sweet, loving, adorable feminine voice. And I'm not saying for women to go back to the 50s and be before that time, to be that submissive. But quite honestly, if women are going to try to basically, act like a man nowadays with female body parts, that's just not going to work for a guy like me or most, normal, decent guys like myself. So, that is the absolute biggest turnoff, is when women exude more masculine energy than feminine energy. And then when you talk with them on the phone after you've gotten to know some of these women through dating apps, right? Once you get to the phone, you're expecting to hear this nice, sweet, feminine voice, and then you hear that, "Hey, Eli, this is Jen. It's nice to meet you, Eli." Hey, what? Whatever happened to, "Hey, Eli, this is Jen, and it's nice to meet you." That feminine voice, right? You know what I'm talking about. So that, to me, is the biggest turnoff, and that is what I believe turns off most men, along with women that exude more masculine energy than feminine energy. Again, not taking anything away from the modern day woman being liberated, having equal rights as men do, equal pay for equal work, women being in the workforce, being in executive positions, etc. But as this show goes on, and as I get to a blog I'm going to be dissecting tonight, once again from one of my favorite websites, Psychology Today, you're going to see how this has affected men and women, especially women that are working jobs that require them to exude masculine energy, because those are positions that at one time, before women were liberated, were only run by men. And it's okay that women are running these positions nowadays, but these positions, whether a man or a woman runs these positions, they do require masculine energy. So in essence, it's taking women out of their natural essence of being feminine to be able to qualify and be successful at these positions. Where does the problem come in? Well, when the woman comes home to her man from work, and if she brings home that masculine energy and starts treating her man like she's another man, that's going to turn off any normal, decent man like myself. So we're going to get to that blog here in just a second. So let me get to the chat here real quick and see who's here right now. We have Mutt Nuts World in the house. Hey, Eli and everyone. Hey, Mutt, how you doing? Mutt Nuts says, just finished my live. It said I got 10 hours of watch time for a two hour, I think you meant to say live stream, but the autocorrect put love stream. Well, your stream was fantastic. I was there for the most part, and then I had to start going to prepare for my stream. But that's awesome. You got 10 hours of watch time. Keep moving forward, Mutt. You're definitely heading in the right direction. Jennifer Keating, I believe you were on Mutt Nuts Review stream, or Mutt Nuts World stream. I'm still calling her old channel name. Not used to the new one yet. I believe you're one of Mutt's friends. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. Jennifer Keating says, hey, Mutt Nut. Stephanie Ellis, a.k.a. Super Steph. Hi, Mutt. Hi, Jen. Mutt Nuts World says, hey, Jen, sissy. Queen Helen Casey's in the house. Nothing new there. We love you, Queen. Queen, it's great to see you here today again. Queen says, hello, Eli. Mutt Nuts World says, hey, Stephanie, sissy. Jennifer Keating says, hey, Stephanie. Smash the like button for Eli, says Queen. Mutt Nuts World, hey Queen Helen Casey, hello Mutt. Stephanie Ellis, aka Super Steph, awesome live tonight, Mutt. Absolutely, that was a fantastic live stream, with the exception of your buffering issues, which I'm sure you'll end up figuring out on your own, and maybe I can even help you figure that out behind the scenes. I used to have the same issues, and then I optimized everything to the point of where I very rarely, if ever, have buffering, especially going from the studio. I believe you were going from mobile, though. So when you're on mobile, that can, there's a greater chance of, buffering because you're using a tiny device to run your show. But when we're able to, help you raise enough money to buy a new laptop, Mutt, and you have a more powerful laptop than you have now, then you're going to be able to run amazing streams from, a non-mobile device. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Stephanie Ellis, aka Super Steph, says, nice. Jennifer Keating, I have a herniated disc and a large torn meniscus. What is that, actually? I haven't heard of that. Sorry to hear about that, Jennifer. It must be pretty painful. I pinched a nerve, and it sucks. I'll tell you, it's affecting me from being able to walk normally and use my hands normally. I mean, I'm still fully functional. It's just a pinched nerve that is, sending a tingly sensation throughout my entire body, especially in my hands and feet. And it's just making it a little bit more difficult to do things. I've had this before, like over 10 years ago, and it typically takes about 2 to 4 weeks to fully go away. So I will be back to normal, but I'll tell you, it does suck in the meantime. So if you're feeling anything similar, I totally get how you're feeling. Stephanie Ellis, aka Super Steph, says, how are you, Jen? Nuts World says, Jen, sissy, how you doing with that? Jennifer Keating says, I am not feeling well today. Not good, sissy. It is acting up today, plus feeling lightheaded and nauseated on top of that. Sorry to hear about that, Jennifer. Hopefully we can brighten up your day a little bit while you're here. Nuts World says, oh my God, Jen, sissy, hope you feel better soon. Jennifer says, thanks, sissy. Feel better, Jen, says Steph. Thanks, Stephanie, says Jennifer. And Nuts World, I'm just going to skim through the rest of these messages. It only buffers every now and then. Okay, that's true. Gia Love's in the house. Hello, heading to work. Just stopped by to say hello. Hey, Gia, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for, stopping by again. Much appreciated. Meniscus is a ligament on your knee. Ooh, that sucks. Sorry to hear about that. Hopefully it's going to get better for you soon and it won't be painful anymore. I'll pray for you. Nuts World says, hey, Gia. Gia Love says, hello, Queen Helen Casey. Nice to see you again. Hello, Nuts Reviews. Nice show today, says Gia Love. All right, folks. We got 18 in the box right now. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get right to it because I definitely do want to rest as soon as possible and get through, this pinched nerve thing that I've been dealing with. And the more rest I get, the better it'll be. So let's get right to this. And we're going to switch on over to the browser source over here. Again, this is another article from my favorite website, Psychology Today. And the title of this blog is Modern Masculinity, How to Achieve the Right Balance. One more time, Modern Masculinity, How to Achieve the Right Balance, written by Mickey A. Fair, and I guess he runs a business called On Purpose. We'll learn more about Mickey at the end of this blog. Typically, Psychology Today shows more information about the blog writer or the blog artist or author at the bottom of the, or at the end of the blog. So let's get right to it here. Diversity, engagement, and the balance of masculine and feminine in business. One more time. Diversity, engagement, and the balance of masculine and feminine in business. And this was posted or written on February 4th, 2020, so only a few months ago. This is very, very fresh. So when I first read over this blog, I was like, this is brand new. Let's see what this guy has to say. And it was very good. So let's start off. Fred is a coaching client of mine. He is a very successful SVP. I believe that stands for Senior Vice President at his company. His issue is that he lacks intimacy and trust in his life, left, right, and center, as he puts it, and he is always obsessed with the next external enemy that he can identify. External enemy. Is he talking about women? His favorite expression starts like this: if only that guy wasn't there. If only that guy wasn't there. Okay. That is interesting. Let's continue. I don't know what he actually meant by that, unless he's a gay man, which would be fine. Or if he's talking about somebody, that's in a higher position in his work. Rebecca is amazingly successful too. She just received her latest promotion. She is the youngest C-suite member of the company, yet she suffers from anxiety, and her mood swings are so strong lately that she started to contemplate quitting her job. Wow. She feels that she is pushed to perform way beyond her limits, and the company culture forces her to be a workaholic. Well, then you're working for the wrong company. Companies used to really take advantage of employees, decades ago, especially when I was in the corporate workforce, especially if you're a salaried employee, meaning that if you work over 40 hours or if you work less than 40 hours, you get paid the same amount of money. If you're an hourly employee, you get paid overtime if you go over 40 hours. But typically, the employees that would get screwed are the salaried employees. And sometimes, their boss will say, hey, you know what, we need you to stay a couple extra hours tonight, or we need you to bring this home with you, or whatever, right? But the laws have really kicked in over the last few decades to protect situations like these. And, while it's still not, as best as it could possibly be, it has gotten a lot better. But this stuff still happens, so I get it. I feel like my career wants me to be a man. Wow, let me repeat that one more time. I feel like my career wants me to be a man. You know why, sweetheart? No disrespect. I love women. I respect women. It is because working most jobs is masculine energy or requires masculine energy. There are jobs that are better suited for women. And I'm not saying that women shouldn't do the jobs that were once only known as jobs that men would do. But when you're working in a corporate environment and you're getting promoted and you're a manager, you're a leader, and you have demands from your superiors to get results from your employees, you have to kick butt and you have to exude masculine energy to accomplish that. If you're a nice, sweet, loving, caring, overly and overly sensitive woman in that position, you're going to fail miserably. So yes, in essence, what this woman is saying here is that she feels way out of her comfort zone because she's being forced out of her natural feminine essence of being a woman. That is where the main issue is. It's not the fact that women shouldn't, have, equal pay for equal work and shouldn't have the same opportunities. It is this situation here that has changed not only the way things are in the workforce, but the way things are in relationship dynamics between men and women. I feel like my career wants me to be a man. Yes, I have had to become a man. Ah! Oh my God. No, I got to repeat that again. I feel like my career wants me to be a man. Yes, I have had to become a man. Wow. I got to sit there and just let that soak in. I've realized this so long ago, again, with no disrespect to the modern day woman. Yes, have the same opportunities that men have always had, but understand certain jobs or many jobs, especially leadership positions, executive positions require you to basically act like a man. That's the bottom line. It's called masculine energy. Wow. To have a life, I need to be a woman. Or if you want to have a relationship with a guy like me, you need to be a woman, right? So you're trying to figure out, how in the world am I going to be successful and enjoy what I do in the corporate world, right? And still feel like a woman to be able to attract a man outside of my work life, right? But if the position I'm in requires me to exude more masculine energy than the natural feminine energy I possess, now I'm torn, right? Many women struggle with this, and they're struggling with biology. That's the bottom line. It's the truth. I gotta quit. Get out of here to finally be me. Well, you don't necessarily have to quit, but you just have to learn how to turn it on and off like a switch. When you're at work, and if you're a leader, you got to lay down the law. And then once you leave your job and go home to your man, you be that sweet, loving, nurturing woman. And have your feminine energy. I'm not saying go back to the days of June Cleaver in the 50s with Leave It to Beaver, right? 50s and 60s. What I'm saying is that, still be the strong, independent woman you are today, as all women are today, but at the same time, have a little submissive nature, because that's what's attractive to men. We're not saying to be as submissive as women used to be or completely submissive, but learn to balance it out. In essence, this woman is struggling with what I've talked about in the past. She's having a hard time balancing her work and personal life. She's torn between the demands of her job requiring her to act like a man when she wants to act like a woman, which is her natural essence, her natural biology, right? I got to see what the chat is saying here right now, if they're even saying anything. Thank you, Gia. Okay, nothing yet in the chat. All right, let's continue. Ladies, feel free to comment if you want. I have heard this so many times, but quitting is often not the solution to this dilemma. You may quit, but it will not solve the challenges of being able to be more you, and your next job may present you with similar challenges. I'm going to tell you. And I like this woman. I respect women. Don't get me wrong. This is not a bashing video on women. But any job that requires masculine energy, women are going to go through the same struggle that this woman is going through. And what I've seen happen in the modern world is that these women that go and get these jobs and they get into executive positions that require them to exude masculine energy, it really puts them out of who they really are and really want to be, that natural woman. And then they try to date a few guys, and then they realize that there's just not enough time to date those guys. Or those guys end up not giving these women a second chance because these women are so used to acting masculine at work that it becomes a part of who they are. And most men like myself are not going to want to deal with that in our personal lives. We don't want to deal with a woman or date a woman or hang out with a woman that behaves more masculine than we are, right? So that is a huge, huge challenge. It is. I share with her an interesting 2014 research finding from Hudson, which found that women at the top appear to have a male leadership profile with feminine nuances. Wow, that's pretty interesting. Wow, women at the top appear to have a male leadership profile with feminine nuances. I will say Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, and actually the last stream I did a couple days ago was dissecting her mid-year review blog for YouTube. I feel she's that way. She has a male leadership profile. She does. But she is, I will say, Susan Wojcicki is very feminine. When I've seen her interview, she does not try to act like a man. She acts very feminine. She's very nice. She's very professional, sometimes a little too professional, like a little too PC, politically correct. But I get it. She's working for one of the largest companies in the world, and she has to, kind of be that way. But I think Susan Wojcicki is a perfect example of how women should learn to balance themselves if they're in an executive position in the corporate world and they want to have a relationship, get married, have a family, etc. Susan Wojcicki's been married for a very long time. I believe she has 5 kids. She's happily married. Her husband is an executive, I believe, for Google, which owns YouTube. So, if you can learn to balance it out in the ways such as Susan Wojcicki has, then you can have the corporate executive job as a woman and have the happy relationship, marriage, and kids. But you have to learn how to balance it out, and it's not easy because, in essence, women are stepping out of their biology, out of their natural essence of being feminine to, learn to use masculine traits to succeed at these executive position jobs, which is what I'm trying to say. C-level women tend to score lower on altruism and people-centeredness compared to average women. The report describes a double blind as in the eyes of the average woman. Women who are leaders appear to behave more like men because they take the lead and are career and result-oriented. Right. Because that's not naturally and biologically how women were made to be by a higher power, I believe to be God. Now, you may have different beliefs. I know most people here believe in God. Whether you believe in God or not, I still love you. But people that believe in God know that God made men and women to be different. And basically what's going on nowadays in the modern world is because of the women's movement and the Equal Rights Amendment and women in the workforce and all that, and women wanting equal pay for equal work, okay, and wanting to be in these executive positions, it is forcing women to, behave out of their natural essence. And again, it's optional. Women don't have to go for these types of jobs, but they want these jobs, right? It's a woman's choice if she wants to work an executive job or a management job, or she could do something that, uses more feminine energy, like run a daycare or work for a daycare or do a more feminine type of job like waitressing or something like that. But see, the modern day woman wants to make the big bucks. And in order to make the big bucks, what do you have to do? You got to put yourself into the executive aspect of things, the executive arena. And the executive arena is a very masculine dominant type of field, meaning that it requires nothing but masculine energy. So if you're a woman and you want to be in that position, you're in essence a woman that's going to have to use the same tactics of managing as men always have, which requires masculine energy, bottom line. But in the eyes of their male colleagues, they behave like women. Well, that's because these guys just don't understand, the modern day woman. And that's why I'm here to help them understand that. Because in essence, these women that are, these women in these positions that are exuding masculine energy are not behaving like a natural feminine woman in those instances. Doesn't mean that they're not a woman. They're biologically a woman, but their behavior is more masculine. So these guys just don't get it. They behave like women, paying more attention to intangible emotional elements like communication, cooperation, and human well-being. Women are still going to naturally, feel more like the caregivers, and, they're going to be better communicators, cooperators, and care about human well-being, like the blog says, than men. That's how women naturally are. But at the same time, in these positions, it's going to require more masculine energy, which is going to be very difficult and has been very difficult for many women already. Let me check out the chat here real quick. I am here listening and updating my public wish list on Amazon. Okay, great. That is not the real. Oh, he's back again, huh? Queen, the doctor's back, huh? This guy has nothing better to do even on the weekends, man. I've got better things to do than troll on YouTube 24/7. Just pathetic. Anyway. All right, let's continue here. But what makes women wanting to lead in ways more similar to men in the business world? Well, one thing comes in my mind is money. They want to make the big bucks, and I can't blame them for that. Rebecca looks me in the eye and asks, what choice do I have? Well, there are choices. My ex-girlfriend, the woman I had the best relationship ever with in my life, started her own in-home daycare and makes over 6 figures doing it. And daycare, there are male daycare providers, but the majority of them are women because women have always been the nurturing caregivers biologically. There are other options. So when a woman says, what choice do I have? You have choices. The thing is, you want to work in those big corporations and make the big bucks and be recognized. But what you don't realize when you first get into that industry is that it requires you to exude more masculine energy, which puts you out of your natural essence of being a woman, and it irritates you and it frustrates you, right? Because you feel like you have to be someone else just to qualify for this job, right? And I'm not saying that women are not qualified for these executive positions. They are. They're very intelligent. Women have come a long way. They're getting degrees. It's all good. But you are toying with your natural biology when, you're forced to be in a position that requires you to behave like the opposite sex. It's the bottom line. But there are choices. There are choices. I wouldn't say there are many alternate choices because most jobs out there, even in the past, before women were liberated, required masculine energy. So I get it. There are choices, but they are limited for jobs that require more feminine energy than masculine energy. As Melinda Gates recently wrote on LinkedIn, we're sending our daughters into a workplace designed for our dads. It's true. It's true because that's the way the good Lord biologically made women different from men. The good Lord had the man be the provider. He'd go out, bust butt, work, bring home the bacon and all that. The woman would cook the bacon, clean the house, take care of the kids, do all that, right? And it worked very well for the longest time until women wanted to be liberated, which is fine. But then they wanted to come into the workforce and work jobs that were once only known as jobs that men would do, that are highly demanding jobs, very stressful jobs that require masculine energy. The woman that we were talking about, or I was reading about at the beginning of this blog, was getting tired of this, was getting irritated. She's like, I have to act like a man. If I want to do this job, I have to act like a man, and I don't like that feeling. I commend her for that. She's being honest about it. She is. But yeah, we're sending our daughters into a workplace designed for our dads. There are women out there that realize this and accept it, and they're like, I'm still going to work. I'm still going to do the jobs, that require masculine energy. But at the same time, when I go home, I'm going to turn it off and be a good woman and good wife to my husband, and he'll be a good husband to me. See, if you're a well-balanced woman like that, and you're a well-balanced man on the flip side to understand that type of woman and what's happening today, no problem. But the problem is most people don't understand the way the modern world works, especially the challenges modern women have nowadays. All right, let me see here. Give me just a second here. All right. How far are we? We're at 35 minutes. Okay. We talk about choices now. The oldest symbol of how the feminine and masculine principle should embrace each other is the famous yin-yang from China. Carl G. Jung, a great 20th century psychologist, reminded the world that many of us have a feminine and masculine side of our personalities. That's true. Both men and women have masculine and feminine characteristics, traits, energies, right? But if you're a man, the majority of the time should be in your masculine. And if you're a woman, the majority of the time should be in your feminine. And the modern day workforce, especially in executive positions, forces women into the majority of their time being in their masculine, out of their natural essence. I don't know how many times I keep saying it. It's just the truth. It is. The animus and anima, as he called it, inner health, balance, and self-actualization require awareness and integration of both sides. I just said the same thing in different words. So basically, inner health, balance. Balance is important. Go to work, do what you got to do, whether you're a man or a woman. Come home from work, spend time with your family. Be the man and woman that you were meant to be, the natural man and woman. Man in his natural masculine essence most of the time, and the woman in her natural feminine essence most of the time. Now, maybe 20% of the time or so, the man's going to have a few moments of weakness, which is normal every now and then. He may cry every now and then, no problem. 20% of the time, the woman might be more dominant in the bedroom, or might, be more dominant in making some of the decisions for the day's events. But for the most part, 80% of the time, the man will stay in his masculine, and 80% of the time, the woman will stay in her feminine. And if you can balance that, between your home and your personal life, you're going to be all good. If not, it's not going to work. If you can't balance it, you're going to have to choose one or the other. And that's what's happening with most women nowadays. Most women nowadays are choosing to work and not date because they can't figure out a way how to balance out their work and personal life based on what I just discussed or have been discussing here. Very good blog so far. What do you think, Queen, Mutt, and the rest of you out there? What do you think about this blog so far? You're a bunch of ladies in here. I want to hear your take on it. Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just stating the facts. This is what men and women are up against nowadays. It's what we're up against. The mistake most diversity programs make is to think that just by having more female leaders, the problem will be solved. That's not true. And it's not that we don't want to have more female leaders. The question is, do women really want to be doing these jobs, or are they just doing them because they've been liberated and they've been told that that's what they do nowadays? What is the truth of the matter? Is it because these jobs are the higher paying jobs and you have to do these jobs if you want to make the best living possible? Are we not giving women choices as we should with them being liberated? Or are we forcing them into the male role to try to prove to society that women have risen up? We already know that. And it's great. But when you force it in the ways I'm saying it's being forced, it's hurting these women more than helping them, in my opinion. It's also hurting men. It's hurting everyone. God, I've got this major itch on my nose. Give me a second. All right, that should take care of that. It is not just more female leaders that we are missing. It is more that we need men to lead by being aware of their female sides as well. And we need women who are not afraid to lead with their feminine side and yet can be firm and decisive. That's a great, great sentence there, right? It is not just more female leaders that we are missing. It is more that we need men to lead by being aware of their female sides as well. That's not saying that men should act like women. What it's saying is that men should be a little more compassionate than they are and a little less rough around the edges, right? Especially when you're in the corporate workforce. You got to have, patience, right? Which is typically not a masculine trait in the workforce, right? Women are way more patient in the workforce, and they're just naturally way more patient than men in certain aspects. Now, when it comes to a woman's personal life, I'll challenge a woman's patience with a man if something goes wrong or not going the way she wants it to go. But when it comes to things outside of the relationship, women have a lot of patience, more so than men, especially in the workforce. Okay. And we need women who are not afraid to lead with their feminine side and yet can be firm and decisive. So let's take Susan Wojcicki, for example, again. She does not have a masculine voice. She has a very feminine voice. And that's one of the things I respect about her. And she's a great leader of YouTube. She's a great CEO for one of the largest companies in the world. So if you want to take a page out of someone as the proper example that you'd want to mimic if you want to be a successful leader in the corporate world as a woman or a leader in general or anything, look at Susan Wojcicki. She's the perfect example of that. She can lead, be firm and decisive with her feminine attributes. She does not act like a man. Susan Wojcicki does not exude masculine energy, at least to me. And let me tell you something. I can immediately or almost instantly tell when any woman is exuding any masculine energy because it turns me off naturally, automatically when they do it. So I get that. We need leaders who have mastered the maturity continuum of tenderness and firmness. That's right, between both men and women. You've got to learn to be firm when you lay down the law, but you got to also do it in a way where it's professional and you're not being demeaning. So in essence, you got to be firm enough to be able to get through to the employee that's being disciplined, but also not too firm to the point of where, it's too much. And maybe it gets to the point of where now you're attacking the employee and you're risking your job by them reporting you to human resources, unfair treatment or whatever, right? I think if men and women, both learn to better respect each other in the corporate workforce, especially, when it comes to executive boards, right, that have both men and women on their board, from what I've seen, especially how it's been depicted on many shows in the past that have an executive board with men and women, the women, it's always more dominated by the men. And it shouldn't be. If men and women learn to better work together on, these things that we've discussed here by having tenderness and firmness. Tenderness is more of a feminine characteristic. Firmness is more of a masculine characteristic. If men and women work together and help each other on the other side that we struggle with because it's out of our natural essence, we could work together and better accomplish things and be in our natural essence at the same time. And women who do prefer to lead with their masculine side need also be affirmed. Let me read that again. And women who do prefer to lead with their masculine side need also be affirmed. That speaks for itself. I have nothing more to add to that. This requires very high levels of self-awareness and an acknowledgement and integration of the male and female sides of our personality. I was talking about that earlier. Nothing wrong with a woman exuding some masculine energy while she's on the job at the workforce. And nothing wrong with her even exuding a little bit of masculine energy when she's with her man, right? But if she's not in her feminine 70 to 80% of the time, and the man's not as masculine 70 to 80% of the time, it's just not going to work out. The sexual polarity is going to be off, and it's just not going to work. And in the workforce, if the woman is exuding masculine energy 80+% of the time, eventually she's going to feel like the same woman that I mentioned at the beginning of this blog, where she's not happy. She wants to quit her job because it requires her to be a man. And she wants to be a woman because that's how she was born, right? Whew, man, I really love this. This topic is one that's just one of the most near and dear topics to my heart. Very near and dear to my heart. Fred, for example, is desperate to be more authentic about his feelings and craves attention. Yet he says depth and emotions are for chicks with a glass of Sauvignon Blanc and not for men who drink bourbon and like football. Well, dude, you're not a real man if you think that way. I'm going to read that again because it's this type of man that I can't stand. This type of man is not a real man in my position. This type of man is an insecure man. Okay? Fred, for example, I'm going to read it again. Fred, for example, is desperate to be more authentic about his feelings and craves attention. Yet he says depth and emotions are for chicks with a glass of Sauvignon Blanc and not for men who drink bourbon and like football. Do you have to drink bourbon and like football to be a man? And even if you drink bourbon and like football, okay, which a lot of men like bourbon and football, okay, then what's wrong with, having depth and emotions as a man every now and then? I'm not saying you have to, have depth and emotion 24/7 like women do, because then you'd be acting like a woman. But dude, if you're not able to have depth and emotion, you can't feel. How are you ever going to bond with anyone, especially a woman that you may want to date or marry or have kids with, right? Fred's the type of guy that needs my life coaching. And Fred's also the type of guy that would probably tell me to go stick it up my you-know-what, because he is just not ready to see it otherwise. He's living in the past. He's living in the post, feminist era. He's living in the pre-feminist era is what I'm trying to say. He's living in the pre-feminist era. Pre-women's movement, pre-equal rights amendment, pre-civil rights act. It's time to understand the world's a new place, and most of these guys just don't get it. And then look what he says here. He completely denies his own feminine side, which throws him off balance. One more time. He completely denies his own feminine side, which throws him off balance. I don't care how strong of a masculine man you are. You've got about 20% of you is going to have a feminine, side. So around 70 to 80% of each man is going to be masculine, and 20 to 30% is going to be feminine, right? And if you don't have that feminine side at all, then it throws you off balance. Then, you're just going to be one messed up person. You're going to be very insecure and very unhappy until you can snap out of it. Sad thing is, a lot of guys never snap out of it, and they live a lonely, long, miserable life. And that's why these types of men, they'll meet a woman, they'll get married, they'll get divorced, then they'll meet another woman, get married, get divorced, and then they go through that lather, rinse, and repeat process of getting married and divorced like 5 to 10 times before they die. Why can't they make it work with one of these women? Because of what is said right here. He completely denies his own feminine side, which throws him off balance. If you cannot relate to women emotionally and you're afraid to open up your emotions to the woman you care for, dude, come on. Think about it. Women want to connect with you on the emotional level. If you're closed off to that, you're doomed. You're doomed. Let me see, where are we at right now? We are at 50 minutes. Let me see how much more I have left here, because I'm probably going to step away and take a quick break and then come back and finish this up here. Give me just 1 second here. Let me just see how much longer. Oh, we don't have that much more to go. I'm just going to power right through it. All right. Certain leadership practices, such as effective coaching, require skills and attitudes which are strongly connected to the female side. Such skills are active listening and empathy, right? Active listening and empathy, okay? Women are much better at actively listening and being empathetic. Most men don't like to listen to anything but themselves, and they lack empathy because they don't care about a lot of things, right? But a real man, such as myself, is going to be balanced between both sides. I have empathy for people. I do listen to people. I also do talk. I'm also a great leader, but I can also be a great follower too. And you know what? If somebody out there is better than me at something, I'm going to follow them and allow them to help me. But see, I'm open to that. I'm open to learning. I'm open to other people leading me at times when I know I wouldn't be the best leader in that situation. When I know I'm a great leader, I'm going to be the leader in that situation. But other times, I'm going to say, hey, you know what? You know more about this than I do. And it doesn't make me less of a man to say, hey, you're a better leader at me than this, so I'm going to follow you and learn from you. And maybe you can follow me and learn from me what you're lacking, right? So yeah, I think a lot of men need to learn how to be better listeners and to have more empathy towards others and not be selfish. I believe a masculine man nowadays, or any time, even in the past, should have always been able to well balance this out. I think men that are real men need to be balanced out, not only physically and mentally, but spiritually and emotionally as well. And the one that most men have the biggest problem with is being well balanced and open-minded emotionally and allowing themselves to be vulnerable. A lot of men are very closed off, especially nowadays because of what's going on with, women being liberated, being empowered, and because of what I've been discussing here today. They don't know how to handle it. They're intimidated by these women that are passing them up. Women are passing men up left and right. They may not like these jobs. They may not like the fact that they have to exude masculine energy to get these jobs done and to qualify for these jobs, but they're getting these jobs and they're passing men up. Why? Because they listen actively and they have empathy. And these other men don't. At least some of them, maybe most of them don't. Our conversation with Rebecca shifts from deciding to leave or stay to how she can allow the feminine side of her personality to surface. That's the other woman we were talking about at the beginning of this blog article here. Fred begins to see that he can remain tough and decisive while also showing authentic vulnerability. That's good, Fred. I'm proud of you, Fred, that you're starting to now show some authentic vulnerability. Great job. Good for you. Keeping both the animus and anima at bay, he begins to feel more comfortable showing emotions and connecting with teams and individuals without the fear of being exposed. Exposed for what? For being a real man? Is it because men are not allowed to have feelings? Men are not allowed to cry? Now, again, I'm not saying as a man you want to cry 24/7 or be in the emotional state 24/7, because then you would basically be behaving like a woman, right? What I'm saying is that it is okay to have your moments of vulnerability or vulnerabilities and your emotional moments. And it's okay to occasionally cry when it's called for. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Without the fear of being exposed. Boy, Fred, your father must have really beat masculinity deep into you, man. So deep into you that, maybe he didn't give your mother a chance to teach you, the slight feminine side every man should be able to balance out as well. Okay, let's move on here. Without the fear of being exposed. Yeah. We're going to expose a dude that has empathy and is kind, caring, and considerate to other people. That makes you a sissy as a man, to be kind, caring, considerate, and have empathy, right? I think you folks know what I meant by that. I was being a little facetious, sarcastic, but you get it, right? Yeah, men have to be tough, strong emotionally, not show any emotion, not be vulnerable to anything. Don't trust anybody. It's all about men, right? No, it's not. It's about human beings, individuals, men and women. Let me get a drink of this. This is making me a little bit passionate here. All right. Let me check out the chat real quick. A couple more paragraphs to go. All right. Meaning and genuine care for employees' well-being are the two most important factors that drive engagement. Inclusiveness and empathy are deeply connected with the feminine qualities of leadership and the anima side of the human psyche. Caring for the mental and physical well-being of team members in an organization presupposes a stronger anima focus in the leadership. That's very good. Very good. I got nothing more to add to this part because this part is great. At the same time, no individual, organization, and community can exist in a sustainable way without balancing the two. Let me repeat that last line one more time. At the same time, no individual, organization, and community can exist in a sustainable way without balancing the two. Yeah. Again, they're talking about the anima and anime, right? Okay. Basically, in essence, what I translate that to or interpret that to is balancing masculine and feminine energy. And again, if you're going to learn one thing from this stream here, is that you don't ever have to step out of your natural essence to be able to do any job. If you're a woman, you should be within your feminine essence 80% of the time, 70 to 80% of the time. 20 to 30% of the time, being the masculine essence, no problem. If you're an executive that is managing employees and you have to discipline an employee, you're going to take the nice approach the first time. If they don't listen, the next time you're going to have to go into your masculine for a few minutes. You still want to do it while identifying yourself as a female and being feminine, but you may have to step it up a notch and lay down the law, which is not something that women were born to do. I'm not saying they're not capable of doing it, but their natural essence of being feminine doesn't call for that. It's a masculine thing. So if you have to step out of your natural essence 20 to 30% of the time, when doing it the other way is not working, no problem. Then just go right back to being who you are. And for men, they need to be in their masculine 70 to 80% of the time. and they're feminine 20 to 30% of their time, and that'll make them well balanced. For men, when it comes to the workforce, they're really not struggling. We're not struggling because we've always been in the workforce and we are men. So, we naturally do exude masculine energy for these positions that require masculine energy, right? Okay. The areas where men struggle is trying to find a woman to date nowadays that is not tired after going to work, exuding all that masculine energy. And even if she wants to go out, how's she going to behave when she's with you? Is she going to have a feminine voice, or is she going to be used to talking all masculine at work? And is she going to talk to you, like this? Hey, Bob, how you doing today, Bob? Or is she going to say, hey, Bob, how you doing today? Right? What's the difference there? One is a very masculine sounding voice and the other is feminine, right? There's a big difference. So yeah, for men, it affects us being able to find women to date and marry nowadays. For women, it throws them off of their natural essence of wanting to be feminine. And they feel like they're being forced into acting like men just to be able to qualify for the jobs they went to college for and were pushed to go to college for because of, women's lib and all that stuff, right? Not a big deal. I'm happy that women have these equal rights, and I'm happy that, women were liberated and, people fought for women fought for women, but they never took any of what's happening now into consideration and how it's affecting, dating and marriage, which is one of the main purposes of life, right? Let me see here. What do we have? Oh, we're almost done. All right, let me just check the chat real quick. All right, nothing going on there. The ADP Research Institute conducted a 19-country study to compare levels of engagement around the world. It is not surprising that engagement around the world is very low. In the U.S., only around 17% of employees reported being fully engaged, which means 85% of us are just coming to work and doing the bare minimum just to get a paycheck, right? But don't you think employers can tell the employees that are going above and beyond compared to the ones that are just doing the bare minimum to not get fired? Who do you think these employers are going to promote? Think about it. If you really care about your job and love what you do, you're going to love it for more than just the money. Yes, you need the money to survive. That's why we work. I get that. But if you love your job more than just the money, you're going to enjoy it more. And you're going to put in, more than the minimum effort. You're going to show how dedicated you are, and you're going to work your way up and have a successful career. You are. Yet again, when they were examining the most engaged teams, they have found that the biggest driver of engagement was whether or not teams trusted their team leader. It's a good point. I remember back in the days when I was in the corporate world, before I got promoted into management, there were some really crappy managers that I didn't like. They were just horrible managers, right? The way they treated people and just the way they were as a human being, right? If you're going to manage people, you've got to have empathy for people. You've got to take their thoughts and feelings into consideration. You have to put yourself in their shoes because you were once in their position before you got promoted. So why wouldn't you be able to take their thoughts, feelings, and other things into consideration in the same ways that you expected when you were at their level, right? Teams in which members have extreme trust for their team leader are 12 times more likely to be fully engaged and more successful, more productive, more profitable, etc., happier, etc., right? So if you're a good manager, if you're a good, cool, down-to-earth manager, right? Now, when I say you're a cool manager, it doesn't mean you let your employees get away with doing nothing and they still make a paycheck. No, because if you let them do that, your hire manager is going to fire you for not being a good department manager or whatever manager you are, whatever level you're at, right? Okay? So what I'm saying is, be a cool manager, lead by example. It doesn't necessarily mean that you got to go out there and always do the work that your employees are lacking to make up for it. You don't want to do that. But every now and then, if you go out there and lead by example and do some of the work to show them that, hey, I was once in your shoes, I did this work, and I'm still capable of doing it. So if you folks are struggling, let me know. I'll come out there and show you. I'll take you by the hand, and I will show you how to do it in the most productive way possible. That's going to make you happy, make us happy, and everyone's going to win, right? Bottom line, when it comes to management, when I was in management back in my corporate days, I never forgot what it was like to be as an employee being managed by an upper manager. I put myself in the position of the people I was managing. And every time I made a decision and spoke with, employees, even if I had to discipline them, I always put myself in their shoes before I started saying what I said or handled it the way I handled it. I always handled it professionally, maturely, and by the book. And I had a lot of empathy and consideration every time. When you have that type of relationship between a management team and employees, like the blog says, you are 12 times more likely to be fully engaged, and everyone's happy. Your team's happy, upper management's happy, the company's happy, more revenue is being made, right? Everything's great, right? And it's pretty simple to do so. Just get yourself in the right mindset, that's all. As a man, don't be afraid to show empathy. As a woman, don't be afraid to still lead while being feminine. That's it. That's what this blog's all about. Last paragraph here. Across countries, industries, and positions, a trusted team leader is the foundation for building highly engaged teams. I would argue that a good way for us to get started about building trust is to expand our consciousness beyond the usual distortions and stereotypes and beginning to embrace masculine and feminine energies, no matter the gender of the person expressing them. Right. Real diversity stats by being able to acknowledge our own full inner team of masculine and feminine and developing a mature balance. Bottom line is this. Men and women are biologically different. We shouldn't have to force women to behave and act like men to be able to do jobs that require masculine energy and that are jobs that were once only, run by men. Women should be able to manage while still being themselves. They should be able to, do things the feminine way. Now, if someone's out of line and they need a little kick in the butt or they need to get fired, then step into your masculine for a minute or two, but then go right back to your feminine. That's my opinion about it. As far as men go, men don't have to be as rough around the edges as they have been. Yes, still be, strict and discipline people when necessary, but when things are going good, when people are performing above and beyond, why not go pat your employees on the back and say, hey, good job? A lot of men don't ever do that. Do you know it takes literally 2 seconds, to pat someone on the back and say, good job. Good job, Johnny. Good job, Sally. I appreciate your hard work. I've always done that. Do you want to know what? Most men in the corporate world, they don't do that. They don't even talk to you unless you do something wrong. So I think men and women working together in leadership roles, executive roles, can help balance each other out in what the other side is lacking. And that way, both sides can stay true to their natural essence while still being able to run an executive position that typically was once only dominated by men. And that's where, well, the blog is over there. But let me read about the author there real quick before we get on out of here. About the author, Mickey Fair is a psychologist and serial entrepreneur. Oh, I love that serial entrepreneur, man. This guy's got a cool look to him. I like the hairdo. Just a cool looking dude. He is a coach and a facilitator who helps organizations and individuals discover their higher purpose and connect the two for better results and spirits. Online, the Mentorship Initiative, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. If you want to go to Psychology Today and look at this blog, just look up Mickey Fair, Mickeyfer, and then you'll see it there. You can connect with him. Awesome dude. Awesome dude. All right. Let's go back to full screen here. Give me 1 second. Let me just close that browser and set it up for the next time before I forget. All right, that's going to do it, folks. I'm going to get on out of here. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Thank you to Queen Helen Casey. Thank you to Mutt Nuts Reviews. Great live stream earlier today. Thank you to Jen, who was here earlier from Mutt's channel. Stephanie Ellis, a.k.a. Super Steph. Gia was here as well earlier, and anyone else that I missed, plus anyone who was watching and not commenting. Thank you for tuning in tonight, folks. I should be back tomorrow for at least one video, and I know I haven't put out a members-only video in a few days. I was going to do that today, but I'm probably going to hold off until Monday. I'm still trying to relieve more of this pain from my pinched nerve. It's getting better each and every day, but I'm still, feeling the pain to the point of where if I can get in one piece of content better than nothing, I'd rather do a public live stream so everyone benefits from it. But I will get back to the members-only stuff by Monday at the latest. All right, Mutt says, night all. Catch you all later. All right, everyone, have yourselves a great night, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. We're out. Peace out. We're out. Out.